Now, some of y'all saw that thumbnail, and you're ready for me to jump all over Robyn. You ready for me to go 10 toes deep in that toot toot. You ready for me to get down on her. Some of you are grabbing your popcorn and your pimp cup, and you ready for me to get it. You sitting there like, okay. But I'm not going to blame her entirely for the collapse of the Brown family.
What?
That's right, I said it. I'm not going to blame her for the family falling apart. She's not the sole person responsible for the family falling apart. If anything, it was the entire environment that was set up before she came into the family, which made it vulnerable to her. Now, I'll use as an example. When I was a kid, when I was a young man, there was a movie out called Fatal Attraction, starring Glenn Close and Michael Douglas. Now, in this film, this was a harrowing tale. It was a horror film, if you will, for married men who cheat on their wives. This is like Hostel, where you have a bunch of kids go on vacation and terrible things happen to them. Except for it involves married people, they cheating wives, or they cheating husbands, and the girlfriend who likes boiling bunny rabbits. That's what it was. And it was horrifying to people. It was horrifying. You know why I was horrified? Because these guys saw that when you make bad decisions, those bad decisions can come back on you. You see, it wasn't just the fact that Michael Douglas's character, the husband, had stepped out on his marriage. It was the decision that he made which opened the door for this crazy lady to come into his home and start to attack his family. That's the horror story. And that's where I say that it's not just the one person who caused this whole cascade of misery which fell upon the Brown family. I don't want to blame Robyn.
What?
And I know that sounds crazy, but I don't think it's just Robyn. Now, do I think that she has some responsibility when it comes to this matter? Absolutely. I think that everybody can look at somebody and see some culpability as to what happened with the dissolution of this family. When you think about it, we all look at Robyn like she's sitting around saying,
I win, you lose.
And then on the flip side, you have Kody sitting around saying this to Robyn.
They're trying to make it look like you did it.
Well, they don't know who I am then.
Nobody knows who you are.
But what's the truth? See, when I look at the entire situation, what do we have? If we strip away all of the names, all of the faces that we've grown attached to, and just look at specific situations or elements from each one of these individuals in this bigger situation, I think we might come to a different conclusion. Let's take a stroll. Now, when you think of the first piece that moves, the person who is opening that gate, the person who is allowing this into their family, the husband. You have a guy who, there's easy ways to do things. All you have to do is just walk through the gate the most simplest way possible. But when you're doing polygamy, a lot of times you're just adding a lot of excess hard stuff for no apparent reason, and you wind up flat on your face. That's what happens. And that's what happened to this gentleman that we're talking about. He thought that he could navigate this particular situation. He entered into these marriages when he was too young and too impulsive to actually make good decisions as far as a life partner, much less several life partners. The first lady that we'll talk about, she's a shy young lady. She keeps to herself. She is nice and powerful and strong when it comes to people that she knows. But when it comes to strangers, she kind of blends into the backwash. She hardly go unnoticed. In fact, there is a point in a book called Becoming Sister Wives where one particular wife had known another wife for years, been part of the congregation that she was attending for years in a small community. And they didn't know who, the one wife had no idea who the shy girl was until she started showing up with Kody. Or this young man, because I don't want to use names. When this young lady started showing up with this dude, All of a sudden, people started becoming interested in her. People started liking her. People started talking to her. She became more popular because of her relationship with Kody, or this young man. Now, this begs the question, was she excited about this relationship because she was solely excited about this relationship? Or was she excited about this relationship because of the relationship? Yes. Because of the person she was in the relationship with? Yes. But also because while she's in that relationship, she not only likes the person she's with, but she likes the person that she is becoming. The person that people see when they see her with this person. When we go to the second young lady in this marriage, we're talking about somebody who is very efficient, very smart, very intellectual, very driven as far as their professional career is concerned. They think of things logically. They think of their family logically. And they want to give to their family as much as they can. They signed up for the deal and they're going to live out that deal. And this particular person, when they join a family or they join a situation, they don't like creating waves. They don't like creating problems. They sit back and allow people around them to treat them however they treat them because they don't want to be the one to cause any issues. So they just take in a lot. Now, the problem with that mindset is that it makes you very affable, so you get along with a lot of people, but you get along with people at the expense of yourself, right? How many of us have friends who will sit around and say, hey, don't let that person walk all over you. If you let that person mistreat you, they will continue to mistreat you. And not only will they continue to mistreat you, but their mistreatment of you will be an expectation that they have that they can continue to do. Anytime that they want to walk all over you, they expect you to lay down for them. And when you start to refuse to lay down for them, that's when you have big explosions in your apartment where you basically telling them, F you, get out of here, we're done, and all that other stuff. Then you have a third young lady. Now, this young lady is a little different. She sees things through rose-colored glasses. She hasn't been exposed. She comes off very naive, but at the end of the day, she too is in a situation where you don't really get to experience the full version of her because she wants to be a homemaker. She wants to be involved with the kids. She wants to make the environment safe and fun and take care of the home. And by doing that, it creates an environment where the person, the young man who is involved with her, he doesn't like to deal with her and her problems. He only wants to deal with her one-dimensionally when she's having fun, when she's making everybody else laugh and making everybody else feel welcome and making that home. But the moment she starts to be a three-dimensional person who has issues, problems, hopes, dreams, imaginations, goals, things that they would like to achieve, things that they're going through, and they want to have those conversations, now all of a sudden, it's a problem. And that is where we find ourselves. And that too can be an issue. Because ultimately, if you pretend to be somebody so somebody likes you, then the people you're pretending for don't actually like you. They like the person you pretend to be. But that person isn't real. Now, finally, we have a young lady who enters into this relationship. And when she enters into the relationship, she's been in the world. She's had relationships before that haven't worked out. She's developed a sense of what she wants, what she will put up with, what she will not put up with. She has a sense of standard. She has certain demands that she makes in that relationship, and she will not bend on those relationships. That gives her an advantage when it comes to dealing with this man, this relationship, or even navigating those other relationships. Why? Because when the first three women I talked about entered into this relationship, they were very young, and that relationship was very early on. And they didn't really have a sense of what they would or wouldn't put up with, what their standards should or shouldn't be, etc., etc. This is something that you develop into. This is something you mature into. We all have sat around and talked to people who are very young and getting into these very serious relationships, and we say, whoa, 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 you need to slow down and make sure that this is what you want to do with for the rest of your life. It may seem like it's important now because you remember that young love when you 15, 16, 17 years old, you fall in love with somebody and you think this is the bee's knees and the end of eternity. You guys are going to be together only to realize that a year later, that guy was all that. He wasn't even that kind, he wasn't even that handsome or that much fun. You realize that the young lady that you were trying to spend so much time with and you were so heartbroken over because she didn't smile at you and want to date you and take you to the prom, that you were better off when she turned you down. And you thank the gods that she turned you down. Thank you, Lord, for letting that chick say no. Because you were young and you didn't really understand what you wanted. You thought you wanted a thing, but then as you got older, you realized the thing you thought you wanted is something that you didn't want to have any part of. These folks, when they were young, didn't have that ability. But the fourth wife, she did have that ability, and she was able to make that choice. Now, some of you will look at me and say, so what you trying to say, James? You trying to say that Robyn is way better than the OG3? You trying to say she's superior because she was more mature when she met Kody and she understood what she wanted?
No, that's not what I said.
What I am saying is by her coming into the family when she did, she had a slight advantage. She knew what she would put up with. She knew what she wouldn't put up with. She knew what she wanted from a relationship, whether it was financial security. She wanted to make sure her family was taken care of. She wanted to be put first. She wanted to make sure that her needs, whether they were physical, sexual, emotional, whatever, were being met by the people that she spent her time with, and she was very assertive about getting that. She wasn't trying to fit into the group as much as she was trying to make the group fit around what she wanted and made sure that the group served her needs. Now, some of us will look at that and say, oh, that's terrible, that's horrible. Is it? Because if we look at Christine where she is now, why do so many of us feel positive about the relationship she's in now with the man that she married just recently, David? The reason we feel so positively about it is because when you look at Christine where she is right now, she is very definite about what she wants, what she doesn't want, what she's willing to put up with, what she won't put up with, who she is, and who she wants to be with. That's something that you develop through maturity and time. That's something that you develop over time through experience. And she has the benefit of that experience. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. Go ahead and hit that share button, that like button, and definitely subscribe. I'm James. That's my take. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCA.